Hare Krishna. This is Rambhoru from Bhakti blogspot.com. Um, I wanted to respond to an article that someone pointed me to about spiritual counseling that someone wrote on their website. And just from a pastoral care perspective on some of the components of actually helping a person find their way in the process of bhakti yoga. I think the article pointed out a couple of points which I wouldn't disagree with. One is that right from the beginning you need to create a trustworthy connection with that person. The article didn't talk about what that meant. It did talk a little bit about not being judgmental, which means not having an agenda for that person or living up to expecting the other person to have the same values as you do. More importantly, or as important, I would say, is that the person can trust that what they say to you is confidential. That means that it stays with you. It's not discussed with everyone in the neighborhood, or it's not posted on a blog spot or a website. It's not now carried out in the open community that you have a problem that you're working on. All too often, when we share our hearts with other people, it gets spoken and repeated to other people, and then it comes back to us in maybe a different shape. And it is so hurtful to know that you've been talked about in the public arena, and that what you have said to another person has not been held sacred in sacred trust. So I wanted to lift that up. I didn't say so much about that in the article, but this is a really important piece of developing trust among devotees. It also is a part of our loving exchange, and that is revealing the mind. If you have had your sacred story or your problem shared with everybody in the community, then and you find out about it, then you are less likely to share again your heart or reveal your mind, because now you've got everybody thinking that you're off or you're in crisis or whatever, and now everybody has an opinion about you. So I would say that's a really important piece, confidentiality. The other thing that was lifted up in this article that I wanted to just reflect upon is that listening to a person, counseling a person only for the purpose of getting them back on the path is a little simplistic. First of all, we have to decide what path are we talking about. I know we're talking as Vaishnavas about bhakti, but for a person who is beginning this path, they may still have material attachments. They may still have to work. They may have an attachment for a particular type of work. And for them, the path might be karma yoga, to do their work and offer the fruits. To do their work, maybe they are more gyanis, maybe they need to engage their minds more. And before they can even get to chanting Hare Krishna, maybe they need to read books. Maybe it won't even be Krishna book, Hare Krishna books. So often you'll find young people, teenagers, who don't really have a taste for chanting Hare Krishna. They've been raised in a Krishna family, but they've been over what we call in Christianity over churched. They've had it up to here. They don't really have a integrated perspective. They're not realized in what it means to be Krishna conscious. And often parents will over indoctrinate their kids to the point where the kids run the other direction. So I think that's really important to consider in a person who, first of all, figuring out where the person is on their journey before you start pounding away at getting them back on the path. The key, in my view, and in the view of the behavioral sciences, is to find out what a person's values are in that moment, and where do they connect with themselves, and where do they connect with something bigger than themselves. That may be God, that may be for the moment music, that may be nature, and finding out what their passion is. What kind of work do they love to do already? It may be completely materialistic in the sense that they love to work on, I don't know, do business. And so then not to discourage them, well, you need to give up your business and move in the temple and now become a Brahmin, but to do what you love to do and try to find a way to do it for the mission of spreading love for God. That might be making movies. That might be being a great football star and letting people know that you are empowered because God empowers you to do this sport. I think that when we try to make everybody fit into what we consider to be the highest standard, you're going to lose people and hurt people because you are where you are, and you can't be more than you are. And Prabhupada wanted us to be who we are and to know that wherever we are and whatever we are doing, if our heart is in the right place, then we are loved by Krishna. Even if we're not in the right place, Krishna is compassionate. He knows that we are struggling in this material world. He knows that it's very, very difficult to find our way through the forest of illusion. And so I think as a counselor, that's really important to figure out what do they love to do, what do they get excited about, what do they value, what motivates them to get up in the morning. And another thing that wasn't mentioned in the article that I would lift up is that figuring out where a person is in their life cycle. How old are they? Are they in their 20s? Are they in their 30s? Are they in their 40s? Every decade of life has a particular task that they need to resolve in order to move to the next task. I know in the Vedic life cycle, it's birth, old age, disease, and death, and you have brahmachari, grihasta, vanaprastha, and sannyas. But there are many more stages, psychological stages, that we need to consider as far as helping a person find meaning or find how they can participate in the bhakti process. If you're interested to read The Decades of Life by David Cashton, it's very relevant, I find, to the Krishna people. And in the 20s, a person is basically looking for their mission. In their 30s, they're trying to become competent at their mission. In their 40s, they're starting to, excel and perhaps become leaders or teachers of their craft. And in their 50s, most people are having a life crisis of some kind. That means trying to figure out, is this what I've been doing up till now what I want to continue doing for the rest of my life? Is this what Krishna really wants me to do? Is this appropriate for me? So I just want to throw that out there to respond to the article I read on the art of spiritual counseling. It was a great article. It was a great beginning, introduction for devotees who are trying to help one another. There's a lot more to it, I believe, than just having a trustworthy connection and not being judgmental and trying to get a person on the path. I think you have to decide or help the person decide what their desires are and where they are and figure out what they want before you can randomly try to help them get on the path. So thank you for watching. This is Bhakti Care at blogspot.com.